Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Justin Sines, chapter coordinator here at Psi Upsilon. And here today, I am here to talk about service and philanthropy and where Psi Upsilon and the community can come together. So first off, what is the difference between service and philanthropy? Think about what it means to do service and think about what it means to be philanthropic. Do they happen simultaneously or are they different? What service and philanthropy projects are your chapters working on? We'll start with a definition of community service. Community service is an action taken to meet the needs of others and to better the community as a whole, from Campus Connect in 1998. Uh, it can further be defined as a non-compensated activity that are organized in partnerships with a nonprofit organization and directly benefit the larger public or external community. So what does that mean? What are some examples of that? Let's think of the Ronald McDonald House to help clean up the house and maybe cook dinner for a family. Cleaning up trash along the highways. We've seen adopt a highway signs everywhere, right? Now, community service. Taking time to coach a youth sports team. Time spent completing, like doing an alternative spring break. How many of your chapters universities have something like service projects you can uh, go to different countries and help, whether it be build a well, build a school, whatever it might be. These are community service and what service is. So what is community service not? It's going to be the other things, donations in kind, whether or money, monetarily, tasks that you're doing for your leadership positions of your of in here in the fraternity, uh, other organizations at school, internships, whatever it might be. Those are not community service because you are getting compensated for that or part of a position you already have accepted. Um, if you attend a philanthropic event, or basically if you buy the ticket, the donation to get in, that's not service. That's and last, helping with the campus program. If you're volunteering time at a campus event, uh, a little different type of service. Now, philanthropy is the desire to promote the welfare of others, expressed especially by generous donations of money or goods to good causes. So these are the things that I was talking about earlier. What is philanthropy? Excuse me. Conducting an item donation drive at your school district, hosting a barbecue to raise money for emergency shelters in the area, selling hot chocolates on campus to raise money for uh, a local animal rescue. What's not philanthropy? That's going to be raising money for your own chapter, or offering a scholarship. So yes, they're monetary. Yes, you're for the betterment of the good, but it's not quite the same as philanthropy. On the third hand, we have awareness, and that's a sustained effort to educate individuals and boost public awareness about an organization's cause or issue. So I think this is going to be more of what traditionally you're used to. So imagine tabling about and handing out flyers to raise awareness about Amnesty International, hosting an education program to talk about the dangers of alcohol, a social media campaign to educate followers on how they can destigmatize mental illness. Those are all ways that we can show awareness of an event or of a cause. But how do we decide for our chapters and our events what we are trying to accomplish? You got to ask yourself questions like, how did you decide, like, where did this charity come from? Is it something you're close with as a chapter? Is it somebody in the chapter that's close with it? Is it a university connection? Is it the Out of Darkness walks that Psi Upsilon is connected with? How did you decide to get to that charity? And knowing that will help you decide what the event maybe should be, right? Just because you choose one charity doesn't mean that there are not others with similar missions out there. I kind of think of Goodwill and Salvation Army. My mom is a connoisseur of both of them, and they have similar missions. They have different missions, maybe, but their way of accomplishing those missions are the same, right? Are there any other student organizations on campus that are supporting a group that you or a cause that you find important? Team up. Like, the more people you have, the bigger and more efficient the event's going to go. And last, do you just want to raise money? Do we just want to let people know about what options are out there and support that is out there? Or do we want to accomplish a service project? Do we want to see something built afterwards, a new thing afterwards, right? So keep that in mind when we start talking about the fox and the hedgehog. Great essay called The Fox and the Hedgehog, written by Isaiah Berlin, philosophical thinker. And he said there's two types of thinkers. There are hedgehogs and there are foxes. Now, the hedgehog and the fox are different in the following way. The foxes, they love complexity. They love showing moving parts. They love showing how smart they are by making things so complex that other people can't understand them. Hedgehogs, on the other hand, a little different. They tend to take the approach of saying, the world is a complex, but we can't function if we don't simplify it. So what hedgehogs tend to do is get one big idea and focus on that, and simplifying a complex world down to a fundamental, simple idea that is essentially right now. It turns out that there's a different walks of life. Some walks of life favor foxes. Some walks of life favor hedgehogs. So I don't want to say that the hedgehog is always better than the fox, but in the world of leadership, the hedgehog tends to win. So are you a hedgehog or a fox? What is your chapter trying to accomplish? Do you want to make a big, complex thon that you're in charge of, or are we looking to raise money for a small nonprofit? Isaiah Berlin says those who build good to great companies were hedgehogs. They tend to be hedgehog in nature and drive toward what we came to call the hedgehog concept for their companies. Those who led the comparison companies tended to be foxes, never gaining clarification advantages of the hedgehog hedgehog concept. Instead, they sacrificed, were scattered, diffused, and inconsistent in their planning. What is a hedgehog concept? So that's kind of developed from the book Good to Great. Is a simple concept that kind of flows from the understanding of the intersection of these three circles that you see on your screen now. What is your chapter deeply passionate about? What do you care about? What makes you tick? What can you be best? Number two, what can you be best in the world at? What are you already good at? What skills do you have? Number three, what best drives your economic or resource engine? How do you get your members motivated? They're not going to be willing to take part in a philanthropy if they don't agree with the department or nonprofit that the money might be going towards. So we need to find out what in the chapter we can all get behind and transform this good to great by being consistent with the hedgehog concept and kind of focusing in on what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and what drives your energy. So what's your chapter's hedgehog concept? Hedgehog concept's not a goal to be the best, a strategy to be the best, an intention to be the best. a plan to be the best. It is an understanding that you can be the best at of what you can be the best at. You're finding that one thing that you can focus your attention and energy on. I think the jack of all trades, master of none. Uh, but in this way, you are the master of this one concept, and you're trying to point everything into that direction. So again, what does your chapter do well? Do you have a great academics? Are you excelling at intramurals? Then think about, what do you want to be known for on chapter or on campuses? My chapter, after I graduated, wanted to win their Greek sing event every year. They won it 4 years in a row. It was their pride to be announced the winner, and we got recruits because of that. What are you passionate about? What are your chapter's values? What does it mean to be Psi-U? Think about that mighty friendship. What drives us to be better Psi Upsilon members? Your economic engine. What drives your chapter to complete goals? Are they competitive? Sometimes gamifying tends to drive people to complete tasks. Putting parts of the chapter like in small competitions against each other. What else motivates members to come to the events? Do they got to be a social event? Or do they just have a duty to the group and just say, the Psi Upsilon's having an event today and I need to be there? Or is it because they want to have a good time? Think about those things. Like, what drives your members to the events and why do they want to go there? Is it to spend time with the Brotherhood, which is a great option, or is it that they really care about the American Red Cross and want to make sure that there are as many donors of blood at that donation center as we can? Find what drives your chapter, and that is your hedgehog concept. So this is the time where we would take a couple of minutes and kind of talk about what you think the hedgehog concept is for your chapter. So pause the video, take a couple of minutes, and kind of come up with a hedgehog concept that we can kind of use as a basis to kind of help, say, go from concept to actually having an event and what that might look like. Okay, so I hope each of you have taken your hedgehog concept, kind of have an idea of what your motivators are and how can we move on from the concept that we have in our heads to an actual event that will get people in the doors, will raise money, will cause awareness of your cause. So, example, your hedgehog concept is you want to do a Habitat for Humanity service project. Your chapter's good at, they have lots of handy guys around the house. You're always fixing things around the house. Don't need to call in the professionals, whatever, whatever that might look like. What are you passionate about? The time spent together. Family could be, we're helping families. And what are some drivers of this? The guys just want to spend more time together. What better way to do it than with a hammer and a nail, right? So finding that core concept and that main idea so that we can move forward and start planning the event. So budget. Every chapter has a budget to keep their finances in order, making sure that you don't spend too much money adding the TV to the lounge and not having enough money to keep up with national dues, right? So also every person tends to have a budget that they stick to, or they'd be drowned in bank overdraft fees. And if you know you want to buy an Xbox game with next week's paycheck, you may need to eat ramen for the week, right? But shouldn't each event also have a budget? Even if it's knowing that you only have $50 for pizza for next week's poker game. That's still a budget that you have to stick to. If you go over the $50, who's paying for it? Where's it coming from? Probably your pocket, right? So we need to think about what are the events that, or what are the things that is going to cost money to pull together the event. We need to think of venue, food, transportation, entertainment and speakers, decorations, security, uh, royalties and rights if you're doing a play. There's lots of things that will cost money along the line, and we need to know when and where that money is coming from. Do we know that the food and the venue need paid for up front, or can we wait until the event to pay that so that we can use the ticket sales? That's what we need to see, and how we need to know how much money we want to raise. So that's going to help us determine how much it costs to attend the event. This is kind of the starting point of how big your event will become. And sticking to the budget is probably the harder part of than making the budget, but also understanding that budgets can change, or I've spent more than $50 on pizza, so I can only spend $20 on decorations or whatever it might be. So we have to shift around if things become more expensive, and we need to still focus on those other costs. So we have our idea. This is kind of like the event timeline. And so we have our idea. We've gone past that. We have turned it into an event. So we know what we want to do. We want to go and build houses for Habitat for Humanity, go and help build houses. So now we have to get permission. We need to reach out to Habitat for Humanity. We need to reach out to the university to make sure that there's nothing we need to submit in that direction. Whatever that might look like, all those people that you need to get on the same page, this is the time to do that. Then we need to develop our budget. We just talked about that. Let's look at when and where the event's going to be. If you have a when and where, the rest tend to fall into places. It's going to be your biggest determining factor on your timeline. As a theater kid, opening night came when opening night came. We couldn't change. We couldn't say, "Hey, we're not ready. 100 people coming who had already bought tickets. You have to come tomorrow." The event's the same way. 8 o'clock, your event doors open. They're going to have an expectation, so we got to make sure that we're meeting that deadline. What are some major milestones on the way? When do we want to start advertising? When will RSVPs be due? Do we need to have volunteer signups? When is that going to be finished? When does the final meal count need to be sent to the caterer or the hotel, or whatever when's the final payment due? Next, we have our big day. So this is the day of the event. You're going to probably be running around like a maniac, but if you've done all the planning up until this point, this is where it will all come together, and it will show that you show off your hard work. So we get there early, we set up the event the day of, we have our event, and we tear everything down, clean up, wipe the slate clean, right? Now, the biggest part that a lot of after events is the after action review. So, or I call it the postmortem. What went right? What went wrong? And how can we improve it if we do it again? We've all been to an event that didn't go as we had planned, and there's a reason for that. So let's think back, at what point could we have fixed that so that it would have gone to plan? And I think that that's very, very important if you're going to continue to do these events again. How can we fix it next year so that it's better? so that we improve upon what we did this year. This is the biggest piece of advice, and I wish that I had listened to my own advice earlier this year. You cannot do it all yourself, and I'm going to repeat it. You cannot do it all yourself. Delegation is huge. If it's a big event, let's use committees, food, venue, entertainment, whatever that might be, decorations. Find help early for the day of the event. Don't expect your chapter to show up. You have to tell them when and where to show up and what their expectations and duties are. Have a list of what needs to be done through the day. Is it a registration table? Is it the raffle ticket sales? Is it information stations? A coat check? Where do you need a physical body the day of the event? And have everybody kind of schedule it out into those spaces. So this is going to give you the freedom to help where necessary and not leave you kind of stuck at a station. We've all been at registration, something comes up and you have to run away. Now you have a line of people at the registration desk and they can't get in and start enjoying themselves. That's going to be their first impression of the event. But you had to take care of the caterer missing something. So you have a lot of duties to be done. So don't get stuck tied down to one position that you need to be there the whole night. Put a little quote here: ample hands make light work, and there are too many cooks in the kitchen will always be at odds. It's finding that balance of we have enough people to do this efficiently and where we don't have too many people where they all have an opinion on how it needs to be done. One of the ways we can do that is as the event planner, you kind of take that upon yourself and this is the way I would like it done. Can you please take that care of that for me? So those are always going to be at odds. So you did it. You got all your planning done. You came in under budget. And now you just need to relax knowing things that are going to go wrong. We've all heard Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And at the worst possible time. I think that's the part that a lot of us forget. And at the worst possible time. During the event, the water, we run out of meatballs. The speaker systems having some issues, whatever it might be, it's going to happen. How you worry and handle the problem is what matters. First off, be cool, calm, and collected. The more you're going to stress, the more the snowball effect's going to take over. You're going to start passing over that energy and anxiety onto your patrons, your volunteers, and you need to have a free mind so that if something does happen, you are able to think of possible solutions and also understand that one might not be available. Yes, we wanted this presentation to be up and running, but the projector is just broken. There's nothing we can do about it at the time, so we are going without the presentation, and that's the way it has to be. Kind of some bigger big issues that might pop up. You realize that the printer misspelled the name on your award. There's nothing you can do. You can't re-engrave that before you hand it out, right? But if the microphone stopped working right before the speeches were to start, we need to find an alternative solution. Do we grab a megaphone? Do we put somebody in the middle of the room so that they can be heard by everybody? What is that alternative solution? Again, going back to our postmortem, what went right? What went wrong? Should we do this event again? I think that's the big one is, should we do this event again? Did it do what we wanted to accomplish? Did it show awareness? Did it raise money? Did it provide betterment for society? What should we do it again? And if so, what do we need to do to make it better? write all this down and have it part of the packet of information that gets passed on to future event planners. Uh, it's great and all to talk about what went wrong and point some fingers, but if you don't have any intention of correcting it and making it better, uh, there's no point. So we need to know what went wrong so that we can correct it for the following years. And again, the turnover is you're not going to be the same person again that's doing this. You're going to probably pass it down to the chair of the event the next time. They don't know what you decided on what right and what went wrong. So make sure that you have that so that they can learn from our mistakes. Last here, would leave it for questions. My email address is justin@sciu.org. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Glad to help talk through budgets or timelines of events and how we can get them to go off smoothly and efficiently. Thanks for your time. Have a great night.